Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live back here for episode, I think, 41. So I think it's the 41st time I've gone live here on YouTube. So I do appreciate any of you that are tuning in live or those that are watching the replay. It's been a good journey. Now 41 lives across the last, I think it's probably been about maybe 15 months I've been doing these lives for. So do appreciate everyone that is tuning in, whether it's your first time here or whether you're a regular viewer. So tonight we normally jump in, chat about a topic. I didn't have any questions come through during the week, so if anyone does have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll ask them with their tax, business, crypto, NFTs, anything like that. Happy to have a chat, give you a bit of an update on things, talk about a few of the videos I've done recently and stuff like that. So I did a video the other day. It is now 3 years since I have started my business, Rooshock Accounting. So I did a video talking about that journey and, how that all went about, some of the things I've learned along the way. So if you're interested in, finding a little bit more about me and the business I run, you can go and check that out on YouTube. And wanted to talk more about that process. So tonight I did want to talk a little bit about growing your business, some of the things that I've learned along the way about how you can, successfully grow a business, which I feel like I have now done. It's really good to have that, the whole history is there on YouTube. You can go back and watch over the last couple of years, showing the content, showing what I've been putting out. And, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the channel as well, to kind of document that journey so you can see some of the things I've tried to improve on and talked across the years. And so I think that does lead, well into what I just started talking about then of, 3 years in business now. So I started the business in September 2019 and we've just hit the 3-year mark, last week, which has been really good. So it's definitely been an interesting journey along that way. And it's definitely been a journey that's not just, you don't just go up like that. It has its ups and downs. And it was really interesting. I reflected personally on some of the numbers of the business, which obviously being an accountant, numbers are something important to me. And I do track a lot of things internally in the business to kind of see where things are tracking, where things are going well, where I need to tweak a system, etc. But it was really interesting looking at some of the revenue figures from especially the first 12 months. And there was some really lean months. There was just no work coming in. And that was just the unfortunate reality of starting a business from zero. And it's why there's not many accountants out there that actually do start from $0 of revenue. Most of them start by buying an existing client base, or if they split from a firm they're working, they open a firm and that splits out or something like that. And I didn't start like that. I started from $0 of revenue, 0 clients. So it was definitely an interesting journey across those 3 years about how do you bring in your first client. And I think that's what I want to talk about, for any business and that. When you're starting from scratch, which most people do, if you haven't got the money, you're starting from scratch. Like I said, professional services is a bit different because a lot of people are starting these businesses later on in life. I obviously started at a much younger age, so therefore I didn't have hundreds of $1,000s where I could go buy a client database, and that's not how I wanted to approach it. But if you're starting a business from scratch from a young age, or with not a lot of capital behind you, you really have to think about, well, how am I going to get my first customer, my first client, whatever type of industry you're in? Where's that first sale? Where's that first revenue going to come from? And you have to get creative. You have to work out, okay, well, what's my skill set? Why have I started this business in the first place? Like, what's my expertise? What makes what I'm doing different to what others are in the market are doing? So if you're obviously, if you're starting a retail business, or you're starting a cafe, or you're starting professional service, you want to look at, well, what am I bringing to the table that people aren't already getting? Or why would someone come through my business and utilize my business over someone else? So, if we give the example of cafe, well, have you worked in cafes before? Do you have a skill set? The stuff you're going to cook, is it on service? Is it on price? Like, what's your differential point? How are you going to differentiate yourself in an already potentially crowded market to really shine through and get those first customers, etc.? So that's definitely one of the things. And then it's like, if you've got that, or if you're in professional service, so for me as accountants, like, well, what can I do that, how do I differentiate myself? Or one thing I really try to focus on, well, how do I make sure that every client I'm dealing with, I give them really good service? That's the one thing that, okay, if you haven't got a lot of clients, you haven't got a lot of customers, we'll go over the top and make sure you're giving good service. You're replying to them quickly, or you're serving them quickly, you're greeting them quickly, depending on what it is. And by doing that, that starts to build up that trust. It starts to build up a good, because if every customer leaves your business, whether the customer, the client, no matter what the business, if they walk out that door or finish that, close that email conversation, or however you want to do it these days, if they walk away from that dealing with you going, I really enjoyed that dealing, or that person really actually cared about me. They listened to me. They sold me a good product. They cooked me some good food. They gave me good service. They had good knowledge. You do that, they walk away happy, and they're much more likely to say to a friend, to a family member, to a random person down the street, "Oh yeah, I know someone in that industry," or I'm wearing this shirt. I got it from this shop," or "Yeah, I just had lunch. It was really nice from this business." So by providing that good service, it allows for that word of mouth. So, question here: so, what do you think was the biggest challenge starting your own business, and what are you most proud of? So, the biggest challenge I think was I didn't realize how hard it would be starting from scratch. Like I've always thought that that's how I wanted to do it because I really like the idea of molding something to exactly how I want it. And that was the same with clients, kind of like, okay, I want to have the client base I want to deal with, the people I want to work with. So the biggest challenge was I didn't realize how difficult that would be. And especially in an industry that's high trust, being young, I had good relationships with people, but I didn't just go and poach sheets of clients or anything like that. I really did start from scratch. And it was like, how do I build up a trust factor with people that they're willing to give my business a chance? Even though I knew that I could provide good service, I knew that I had the knowledge and I knew all of that from, my previous experience. But it was like, how do I actually get people to go, you know what, we're actually going to switch to him. We're going to use him as an accountant. So I think that would be the biggest challenge. And what I'm most proud of is sticking to what I wanted to do from the start. So, I wrote out some, I think I referred to them as the pillars of Rooshock Accounting. And it was like, okay, what are the 9 things that are really important to me in this business? And I feel like I've really stuck to that. So, it was all around providing really high quality customer service because I felt like that was really, really important. Explaining things in a way that really made sense to a client. So I wanted clients to come out of any dealing and understood what I've explained to them, whether it was some tax law or whether it was how depreciation worked for their business or something like that. So doing things in a way, and it was always looking and giving them that overall picture of, okay, well, what's actually, yes, we've saved you $10 here, but it is going to cost you $5 in the future. Like not just telling them what they want to hear, telling them what they actually need to know. Because that's something I found. I found a lot of accountants would go, oh yeah, we've saved you $1,000 up front, not telling you that, look, in the future, you're likely going to pay some more tax down the track. So it's trying to go, yeah, look, this is, not just selling them the good and saying, we save clients tens of thousands of dollars a year when it's like, you just did what every accountant should do. So have you really done anything special there? So that's what I think biggest challenge, definitely starting from scratch. How do you actually start from $0? And then what I'm most proud of is like sticking to the really key ethics of what I wanted to do in business kind of thing. So, I mean, there's definitely been other challenges along the way of like, I definitely feel like my business does have a bit of everything at the moment. So maybe it's not quite as focused in a particular area that could be a potential area to improve on processes and stuff. And when you are starting it, you do kind of take on a range of different client work. So, I've got a lot of different things, and sometimes that can be a little bit, you've got to keep on top of so many different things. So whether that's the most efficient way to run a business, etc., I'm still tweaking so many things ongoing, which is something I really enjoy about being a business is you can keep tweaking things as an ongoing thing. So, yeah, so that's, the first 3 years. Like I said, if you want to go in more depth and hear more about those first 3 years, there's definitely there. So one thing I think for growing your business is using modern methods of business. Is that, the reality is business has changed a lot over the last, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, I imagine. And therefore you have to be, okay, well, what works for business in 2022 may not be what worked for one in 2002 or even 2020. Like you have to look at what works today. And I mean, social media is a big thing, is it? And that's an evolving space that people have to be on top of. And when Facebook come along, probably early, 2013, 2014, where a lot of businesses were starting to get on Facebook. If you didn't have a Facebook page, you were starting to become in trouble because it's like, especially I know myself, you were looking up at that stage, you were quick to go, okay, I need to look up a menu for a restaurant. I need to look up contact details for a business. And Facebook was starting to replace, the yellow pages kind of thing. And it's like, okay, how can I communicate with the business? And that changes over time. When I first launched the business, it was like, oh, I just thought Facebook and Instagram would be the 2 places I grew on. And now, obviously, we have a YouTube channel here with nearly 3,000 subscribers. So, modern businesses are using things like TikTok. They're using, Instagram where necessary. It depends what industry you're in, but using those modern methods and having a business that's set up to account for how people want to communicate. So we've only made the comment this week that my business phone has never rang so much in a week. And it hasn't really rang a lot if you compare to other firms and stuff like that. because we get so many inquiries that are all via Facebook Messenger, via Instagram DMs, via email, via website contact forms. Like, we've got the business set up in a way that there are so many different modern ways that people want to communicate. And especially during tax time, it's not unlike me to be chatting on Messenger with a client at, 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Like, that's just the reality of modern business, is that people want to deal in different ways. So that was something I really thought was really key to setting up in my business, is going, how can we structure this in a modern way? What do businesses look like in 2022, and what did your customer or your client, what do they look like in 2022, and how do they want to run? How do you want to interact with them? I think that was really important for me to go, okay, what do they want? Like, how do they want to communicate with me? Is that via Messenger? Is it via email? Is it via phone? Like, what's the methods that people want to deal with their accountant in 2022? Because that's where I need to be. So I think you should be asking yourself is, for your industry, for your particular business, what is a modern business doing? What is a successful modern business doing? If you're a restaurant, you need to have an ordering system. Can people order before they get in there? Can they book a table online, make a reservation? Can they, order at their table? Has become really big over the last, 6 to 12 months. Like, those kind of things. And they're things I've been talking about with business owners for 4 or 5 years. Like, I've had conversations with people looking to set up cafes, 3, 4, 5 years ago, saying you need to have an ability where people can book a table online. Can they order online so that, can they order their coffee so when they get there to pick it up, it's ready? Can they pre-order their lunch and pre-order their table so that when they get there, they can sit down and their food's ready? Like, thinking about all these things in advance, understanding, okay, it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to put up our lunch specials on Facebook. Like, these are the things you need to be thinking about, that businesses change. So using those modern methods, like as a retailer, it's like, are you selling online? Like, they're the kind of things I think you really want to be thinking about. And that leads perfectly into the last kind of thing I had here on growing a business, was thinking big. So I come from a regional town, and a lot of people in that town that were running businesses were, especially in retail or clothing and those kind of things, they were going, oh, we can't compete with the online retailers. And my question was always, well, why can't you be an online retailer? If you've got a clothes shop, you've already got a point of sale system, a lot of them easily linked to online. Why can't you start selling online as well? And I think this was clear. I remember walking to a few pop culture stores back in probably 2013 or 2014. And I remember overhearing a conversation between, and this was in Melbourne, a conversation between some staff talking about how they were processing the day's online orders, and how online orders were a big part of their business. And this was back in 2014. And I know that business is still thriving today. They have a big, massive they have a big, massive, in-person retail storefront, but their online orders were just as much. So it's like, and the guy that was there was at the front desk packaging and doing stuff in between serving customers. So not only had they found a way to increase revenue, they weren't required to take on any extra staff, because the staff that were just sitting around waiting for to serve a customer were able to do it in between, with still providing great service to the people in the store. And they'd found a way to modernize their business. And, that was 8 or 9 years ago. And it's like, I'm still seeing a lot of retailers now not willing to sell online. So it's like, those things of going, well, why can't we think big? Why can't we compete with, and modern business works like that. I read an interesting Twitter thread only today talking about, a family that decided to move to a town where it was cheaper living so that they could quit their jobs and then focus on their social media influencer careers. Like, and that's not for everyone, but it's like, they thought big. They go, okay, we can do this, and why can't we compete against people on a global scale? So I think that's something, think big, even if you're small. So it doesn't matter if you're in a small regional town or whether you're in a big city. These days, you're competing against everyone. Like, I have so many clients that I'd have more clients. I don't really have a lot of clients here in Adelaide or in South Australia kind of thing. It doesn't matter what. They're all across Australia. So it's like, even, it's not even just my home state. It's across so many different ones. So my competition isn't the people in my local town, or isn't the people in my local suburb or anything like that. It's people everywhere. So it's like, my clients are coming from everywhere. So therefore, it's like, I've got to think big, and it's like, why can't I, think of a bigger scale? So the octopus has arrived. What did I miss? I missed the donuts, didn't I? Yes, you did. Donuts for everyone in the first 10 minutes, and you've got here slightly too late. It's a real shame. So yeah, so I think that's what I want to say. So, thinking big. Those things of, like, they're probably some of the key things I've learned in business is, look at what are modern businesses doing. What are your customers doing in a 2022 world, not in a 2019 world. Like, that's not relevant anymore. You need to keep adjusting and then thinking big. Why can't you be the big business? Why can't you compete against others? Like, you can be that business. It doesn't, just because you start out small doesn't mean you can't. And probably something I haven't got a little banner here for, but understanding that you've got to be really flexible and you've got to pivot throughout your business, is that things aren't going to go exactly as you plan. Like I talked about in the video I did the other day, I set up a lot of processes in year one of my business, and a lot of them aren't still in place today because I've had to tweak them and change them. And it's like, okay, but you've got a new client form, and then you realize, hang on, I'm not collecting that, but I'm collecting this, but I don't really need that anymore. Okay, well, let's change that. Or, I'm trying to think of more, okay, what's something I do on a regular basis that maybe I can automate it and make that process a smoother process for not only myself, but for the end client. Like, if I'm constantly asking for this list of information, how about I put it in a nice, neat form that explains it in a bit more detail, and I can send that out every time rather than me having to type out that email. I've got a form there I can send it, and it's got more detail for the clients. So that's why I built checklists at the start of the business going, hey, look, you need an individual tax return done. Here's that checklist. And then what I did was it took me a couple of days to then go, okay, work-related uniform. And then it's got a section in this document where I've written out exactly what that means, what that includes, etc. So I'm not just saying, oh, here's a checklist, fill it out and give it back to us. If that was the case and, I didn't want to give you any help, then you might as well lodge your own return. But I'm going, hey, look, do you have any uniform? Click this hyperlink, go through, read about what is claimable for uniform, and then you can come up with, oh, yeah, okay, I understand. Then you can ask those further questions. So it's just, putting processes in place that makes sense from an overall point of view, that's going, okay, what can I do to make life a bit more efficient? So Chris is here, made it. So if anyone hasn't checked out Chris's channel and the great work he's done, he's just finished on the weekend, did his birthday stream where he's raised $5,000 for backpacks for kids over there in Victoria. Awesome effort. If you haven't gone and checked out some of the work Chris has got, he's got a really good channel over there talking about, reselling, running, and just a bit about life as well in general kind of thing. And yeah, he's done an awesome work there for what he's raised for charity. So I just wanted to give Chris a bit of a shout out there. I think he's got a live coming up in probably just about over half an hour's time where he's going to talk about it a bit more. So if you're looking for something to do after this, definitely go and check out the awesome work Chris has done. So yeah, so that's a bit about growing a business and stuff like that. So I did want to touch on that. I'll plug a few things. So make sure you have subscribed here on YouTube if you haven't already done that. I've still got the NFT project, still got that. I've got some exciting news that I will be sharing in the next couple of days, probably in early October, talking about some upcoming movements that I've got going on in life, etc. And yeah, things are going well. Lots of client work still going out the door. It's still tax time doesn't mean just July and August. Tax time goes all year round for an accountant. So there's plenty of tax returns, plenty of clients we're working with, and especially in the crypto space, some challenging things that are still happening there. So I just finished my ink stream. Yeah, no, I appreciate all your support, Chris. So a shout out, definitely doesn't go astray your way. So I do appreciate those that are tuned in. Like I said, upcoming, I really want to get more focused on the YouTube channel. I know I keep saying that, and it's going to be a massive goal for me in 2023 that it's like there's going to be more consistent content. I'm putting things in place, doing things so I can make sure that happens across the whole year. Not, there's ups and downs. Things have been pretty chaos. I'm going to be doing some videos talking about the importance of emergency funds again. I've had a few crazy little life things, insurance things and stuff like that have come up recently that have definitely drained some funds. So it's really, it's been really frustrating, but at the same time makes me feel very privileged that I've been able to put myself in a position where it wasn't a financial stress. Obviously, no one wants to be paying out for, things to be fixed. But at the end of the day, it would, made me feel good that, okay, yes, I have put myself in a position and made sure I've got the funds and not overspending and all that. So I do want to, share some of that knowledge. And I did put up a poll over there on YouTube. So I might just see how that one went. Talking about, I talked about what videos you want me to see me cover next. So I'll just see the results of that poll because I just remembered about it. I haven't been active on the socials recently. So I put up what topics should I cover next, and the overwhelming winner there was crypto tax was 53%, business tax was 20%, individual tax was 13%, and general money topics was 13%. So there was 15 votes there. So well, you're getting some of that business tax stuff here tonight. So I will make sure I do some more crypto tax topics in the future as well. And yeah, want to touch on some of those other things. So I will let you guys enjoy your nights, and I do appreciate those of you who've tuned in, and take care.